Good anime afternoon, I'm Dead Diligent, and today I'm giving you a podcast with Jonny Lobo where we talk about lots of different animes, from Attack on Titan to Full Metal Alchemist, One Punch Man, and so many more. So stay tuned and enjoy. And if you want to know more about Jonny Lobo, then check the link in the description below, and you can find out about all the amazing podcasts he does on several different animes over on Who Cares About Anime.
Now it's been has it been 4 years?
4 years now, yeah.
4 years, yeah. My goodness, man, you could.
Where does it go?
I'm finding that too. It goes so damn quick.
It's ridiculous.
The older I get, but wow, 4 years. I think I guess what's because I've just been seeing some stuff, but I don't have my finger on the pulse, as I'm sure you do, more so on what's some of the stuff you've been hearing about season 2. I heard, like, are we still expecting like February? Is that when it's supposed to?
It should be in spring, so in April.
Oh, okay. I don't know where I remembered that from.
There's a lot of misinformation and a lot of facts out there. Every website's trying to just say something. I remember there was this one clickbait website that referenced my video about, I don't know when it's coming out, because this is back when we didn't even know the year it was coming out, and I made a video just saying, look, lots of people keep asking me, but literally there is nothing official. I can't tell you anything. Really sorry. Some people were hating, some people were loving it because they were like, thank you for telling us honestly. Because so many people asked me for it, and I was like, look, I can tell you a lie, I can tell you what I think, but I can't tell you what's actually happened. And then a website saying, it's coming out in 2014. And they had a link to my video, and I was like, what? You can't do that.
What? That makes you look bad.
Yeah, I was like, lucky no one ever clicked on it, but I made another video after that saying, oh look, I found myself, I'm famous.
And I can't imagine being maybe a younger fan who's just, you see that and you're going to get instantly elated and just like, oh, is this real? Is this really happening? And then every time, like, nope, no, for 4 years. That's just, yeah. And it's kind of an epidemic in all sorts of fields, I guess, online. And as you said, and we all know it now as clickbait and a lot of websites and places. It's just, oh yeah, we know, people are going to hate this, but we don't care because that's still attention, and it's clicks, and that's what we want. And so I was just gonna say, I respect you and anyone who's like, look, I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm not gonna tell you something I don't know. I might share my opinion, but if I don't know, I don't know. So
it's that simple, isn't it? It's not so much don't even know, it's just there's no official response. But the problem is, with a casual fan, they just want an answer quick. They Google it, click on the first couple of links, and it will say just the headline, coming out 2014. So then they just assume, oh, it's coming out or whenever, 2015. I've literally seen clickbait articles for the last 4 years, all the way from, it's coming out next year, it's coming out next month. And they just keep saying next year to give you that false hope.
So I'm so glad, and on behalf of all those, all the other fellow poor fans out there, that we're finally, for real, we're gonna be getting it this year, and we got something to look forward to. So, I gotta say, I really, not to be an echo chamber here, because I know you feel this way, and I'm sure a lot of people listening about it, but I just like talking about this series because it's something contemporary that I've actually kept up with. And again, speaking of time and stuff, it seems I can't commit to as many things anymore, and but it's I think it a lot of mixed reception in a lot of ways. Anything that is big or popular gets that, but I really do think it's just something worthy of discussion and attention. I think it's because I think it's just a great product.
Yeah, I was going to touch upon that as well, because the problem is with doing jobs or whatever it might be for people, school, university, with YouTube, that's the first thing to drop, unfortunately. And with things like doing this with you and with other people, unfortunately, it just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back because life happens. And unfortunately, this is a hobby for me, and I don't know if it's the same for you. But you can't just do this full time. You've got to, do you know what I mean? You've got hundreds of other things to do on top of this. You've got work or university or whatever it might be. You've got a life to run. And unfortunately, when I have the time, I love doing this. But unfortunately, like I said, it's the first thing to drop. I love anime. I love doing YouTube. But just recording the video, never mind editing it, and all the other things that go into the magic of it, do take a long time. And unfortunately, if you don't have the time, it drops. And I'm mainly apologising to my fan base because it's been a good 3 weeks now since I last uploaded. Because it's been a hectic couple of weeks, and you know, something happens, and then it gets longer. And then you're like, oh, have I got the time to do it? And weekend passes, you feel guilty because of it or whatever. But it happens, unfortunately.
And I'll try to, maybe that'll ease the ease things for you and your, because I've gone months in between mine, and then the guilt sets in, and it's exactly the same for me. I got to have a day job, sometimes multiple day jobs, and if I could do this kind of thing, and you know, the rent be taken care of, and not have to do day jobs that I don't even really care for, I would do that in a heartbeat. But it's same for me as it is you. It's what I enjoy doing it. It's sort of a hobby, I guess you'd say there, because it's not my bread and butter. Sadly, I wish it could be more often. But yeah, it happens. So, but hey, ladies and gentlemen, and we're at least we're here now.
We're here now.
And man, I hear you there. I got some friends sometimes that, you know, good on them, and I help them out, and you know, I want to do a podcast. It sounds fun, and it is. But then, you know,
hard work behind that.
The realization of like, okay, we recorded it. Now the work begins, and they're kind of like, what? Yeah. Now that that time you burped, who do you think makes that go away? That'd be me, man. I get rid of that, or that whatever, that misnomer or something else. I make it go away in post, and that takes time.
And it could be as simple as, you know, I know you do a lot of podcast and longer videos, which are insane to edit. I've done a few, and I'm sitting there. If it's an hour video, it takes 3 hours to edit, and you have to listen through to it, and you get sick of your own voice eventually. I know.
Oh my God, that's true. Oh my God,
I
yes.
enjoy listening to the other person, but do you know what I really like? The main thing about editing, the only real thing that I really like when I edited a couple of like discussions I've had about Attack on Titan before with other YouTubers and other people, I think one of the best things was if I missed something when we were talking, I listen back and and do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know, because when you're talking for a long time, you don't pick up everything, or you don't really reflect on everything, and it's really good in post because you are having to listen to it maybe a couple of times. You can skip bits, and the bits you know are fine, but like you said, you've got to watch out for that occasional whatever it might be, whether that be a burp or something, and you just listen back. And at the end of the day, if you're enjoying it, I guess hopefully other people will enjoy it as well.
I tell you, you know, that's so true, because, you know, when you're the one doing the recording, and you're kind of the host, and you've got multiple people, and you're kind of you're listening to them, but you're making sure. I get paranoid like that. Okay, it's still recording. Okay, this and that, and then and boy, that's real. On you said you've just sat through the whole thing, and then you go back and you have to listen to it all again, doing it, and you're having to painstakingly go through it. And so there's times when I'm like, I just need a day or two to be away from it, and then I can come back to it and not hate it, sort of thing. Because that's crazy, and I am forever humbled by the fact that there's some people that have enjoyed listening to some of my podcasts, because they get very long sometimes, trying to I do the best I can. But when you've I think the longest we got to was like up to hour 20 or something. Like, that's trimmed down, that's edited. So that means, we probably talked for like 2.5 hours or recorded that long. And so that is quite a chore to chop through all that. But then I'm really glad when I see, even 50 views on something that is me and some other people just talking for like an hour.
It's ridiculous,
That's
isn't it?
so humbling and it's so gratifying. I'm like, wow, that means so much. So, and I'm sure you kind of get that feeling too. It's like, wow, hey, I'm doing something quote unquote right if these
Yeah,
people seem to like it.
I couldn't agree more. The satisfaction you get from it is amazing. A bit, I guess, unlike you, with when I have a big edit to do, I have to just get it done in one hit. Otherwise, it will never get done. But with shorter videos, I've been even worse, and I start it and I think, no, I'll come back to it, and you just never do. I just always, it has to be a morning thing on a weekend, hit it hard, get it done is what I normally try and do. But if I wake up late on a Saturday or something, it just doesn't get done because you're just like, you're pondering about it. And yeah, it is a big job, but it is so worth it. Like you said, even 50 views or whatever it might be, it's just so humbling when you get a nice comment. It could just be one comment or two comments that are just ideal for it. What's really daunting for me is starting a new anime. Every time. I'm in that period at the moment. I'm not watching one currently. And it takes me weeks to months to decide what to watch. And I watch the first episode of something and then it'd be 2 weeks later before I'd watch any more. I really take so much time to be won over by an anime because, like I said, my time, unfortunately, is very precious and you're busy all the time. I watch an episode, right, this isn't worth my time. And then I reflect on it and think, oh, actually, come on, I'll watch one more. Or I hear someone say something or I see a reference to it in a video or something, I'm like, that's reminded me, I need to watch the rest of that.
And that's something I got an impression from you and Y Buffet as well, and anyone of that ilk, so to speak, that I really admire, and I feel the same way. Is just like, and nothing against, like we were just saying, the guilt of binge watching. We all do it, but but there's so much out there now, which is a good thing, but there's so much out there now.
So much choice.
You can't see it all, and so I really think it's not too much to ask of an anime or a book, a movie, whatever it is, and you're kind of asking yourself like, okay, you're saying, show me what you got, and are you worth my time, frankly? And I think that's a fair approach, and then like I think like you were saying, I try to do as well. If I'm going to commit to something, I really want to give it the proper viewing experience. I want to give it my time, and okay, I get to know these characters a little bit, and I get invested in it, and it leads to some great discussions about it, I'd like to think, and good takeaways and stuff. But it takes time, and so I'm never going to be the first breaking news or whatever kind of thing, but it takes me time to chew the cud, I guess, just mull over it and what about this? Oh, I never thought about that. And then talking with people on the cast or like, here and other people, and I hear something, I never thought of it that way before. I never looked at that. That's really really interesting, in fact, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's I'm going to think about that now, because I appreciate you sharing your experience, because learning as we go, and I think you're right. That is something that's that I found with YouTube channels and the like is it's just you the familiarity of a voice, of a personality. It's that is something that's definitely a factor. Yeah, it is, absolutely.
What would you say your anime, for someone who's maybe not never watched it, but an anime before you die, what would be your one recommendation for an anime before you die? Just talking about, because I found with this question, I've done it with other people before, normally off recording or whatever, I've just said, what is the anime you would recommend to watch someone before they die? Like the one thing they have to watch. What would it be? And what it does is it actually, you normally find that the other person's never heard of the other anime that you're talking about or haven't watched it, and then they just, do you know what I said about the 2 weeks or whatever mulling it over? You go, go on, I'll give it a try, and actually it's really enjoyable. I was just wondering because I don't know how mainstream / indie animes you are, but I was just wondering, like let's say your favorite anime of all time that you would recommend to anyone to watch, what would it be?
I tell you what, I'm sure as you realize that is a difficult question.
Because I've got so many recommendations going through my head. That's why I haven't said one yet.
Absolutely. I'm gonna, a contender. I don't know. I got another one lined up here. I think would be if I had to, but a contender I would say, I would honestly say would be Outlaw Star. It's one of the it gets thrown around out there a lot with the space westerns, and it's kind of the tag along if somebody's talking about Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop, great show, and that could be a contender too, something before you die. But I've just found Outlaw Star kind of gets overlooked a lot more because of Bebop, and it's well earned with Bebop. But I've gone back to it multiple times now, and it is such it's where you really understand kind of the difference between, say, shonen and seinen, because I enjoyed it years ago, but I've been rewatching it, and I tell you, the older I get, and I'm in my late 20s now, and so the older I get with that, and that turbulent time that is your 20s, and you're trying to figure out who you are and where you're going, and you're just trying to figure out, how do I get enough money how do I get enough food for today? How do I get enough money for rent at the end of the month? I'm just trying to start up a small business with my friend, or a YouTube thing, something like that. And Outlaw Star is it's just ingrained with that, and it's made of that, and it's beautiful. I'm like, oh my god. I enjoyed it before, but now I relate to the protagonist, Gene Starwin, so much now, because he's unlike stuff I enjoyed and other people, your shonen, your Yu Yu Hakusho, Naruto, all that stuff. You start out with this protagonist a little bit later. He's not a kid. He's not a teenager. He's like in his he's early 20s, and it's just so it's so gratifying there. One I might have to say, though, if I had to pick one before you die, would be probably, and I did speaking of guilt, I want to try to make some more of these videos. I tried doing another little installment of videos, and I called it Lobo's List, and I was like, I'll just do lists of my top 5 whatever, and so I had it on there as my number one, my personal opinion, number one underrated anime out there, and it's called The Legend of Black Heaven. And I found the dub very enjoyable, sub, of course, good as well. The dub, you're going to hear a lot of it's old school Pioneer, so like your Tenchi Muyo, aforementioned El Hazard, so really good late 90s dub there. You're going to hear Bo Billingsley, you're going to hear a lot of Cowboy Bebop alumni, but especially if you're a music kind of person, but even if you're not, because who doesn't like some kind of music, even if you're not a musician. But it's about, speaking of, we were just talking about this series of Gene, and he's in his youth, in his 20s. This one's about a guy he's on the tail end of that. He's middle-aged, and it's kind of all about like, okay, like it, and he was a member of a rock band. He was a rock star, and all his dreams came true, quote unquote. But it's like now he's a salaryman, and he's got a wife and a kid, and it's like not the big battles that you see in shonen, but it's I'm finding out as well, it's the everyday, it's the little battles of just like, how do you keep going, the monotony, and all of that, and there's I just personally found so many personal takeaways from it. I won't spoil a lot, but it's, if you're a music lover, you're gonna adore it. And even if you're not, if you're artistically inclined in any way, You're gonna love it. It's just it's not a big name. It wasn't super popular even if it's in its heyday, but it's one of those, like, it's a work of art. It's the people who made it, um, really just I've described it as it's a love letter. It's a love letter to the dreamers of the guys who made it. Their generation was kind of the classic rock era and stuff like that, but it applies to to anybody at any stage of life, and really and gets better with age, like a fine wine. So if I had to pick, that's a really hard question, but and it's only I think, going off the cuff here, I think it's only 13 episodes, so it's not a huge
Commitment.
episode commitment, absolutely, but it is one for those who are inclined to introspection, to chewing the cud, as I as I say sometimes, and I think much in the same vein as you, sir. Just taking the time for something. I don't see how anyone could view it as wasted time. I think it's worth people's time if they're so inclined. But if I had to pick just one, that's tough. But did you say have you not come up with an answer for that question yourself yet?
I was just thinking of the three answers. We're talking about, like, Outlaw Star and Cowboy Bebop, and was it Legend of the Black Heaven?
Yes, the Legend of Black Heaven, I think, is the English title. It's like you know what? I'm not even gonna. I'd botch it anyway. I don't know the Japanese, but you search the Legend of Black Heaven. That is it. Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen any of those, I have to admit. One of my friends is a big Cowboy Bebop fan, and he's been saying to me for forever, watch it. It's just like, cowboy, is it? And I was a bit like, I will get around to watching it at some point. But no, I just like the way you like relatable sort of animes, whereas I like escape animes, where they're just completely far-fetched and you can just escape into this world and forget about the real world for a while and just binge and, just completely escape. And I like that you can take things from certain animes, and I respect that, but I personally like just escape sort of animes that are pretty far-fetched, I guess, but you can sort of jump into them. If I had to pick one anime, which I'm pretty certain you've seen and most viewers probably have seen, is Death Note. I would say
I'll say it right now. I'll go ahead and say it. Surprisingly, I've not seen that one yet. That's been on my list forever. It's been on my friends, like, dude, you have to see this.
Have to watch this.
I know, but surprisingly, as of this recording, I still have not seen Death Note. So I like hearing that if you had to, pick one, like, gotta see this. So that's gonna light the fire under my keister here. Like, get going.
I just love that it's from the protagonist is the antagonist. You're watching it from, I guess, if you want to call it the bad person or the villain's perspective, but actually he's got his own version of justice and what I'm not going to spoil too much for you, but he's got his own version of what justice is, and it is literally like a if you're thinking of in like role-playing games, like a lawfully evil person thinking that they are lawfully good because do you know what I mean? It's literally that. I originally watched the original Full Metal Alchemist. I'm not sure how different the two are because I've only seen Full Metal Alchemist, the original one. I want to say most of season 1, and I sort of got bored and did my usual stuff. Then I remember someone mentioned it to me, one of my friends. I was like, oh, I remember that. That had a really cool concept of, alchemy and changing things into other things as long as it's equivalent exchange. I love that concept so much. And I went back to it and watched the whole thing, actually, funny enough, on Netflix, but I watched the whole Brotherhood, and it was amazing. And I literally binged that for about 4 days.
Right on. I've heard a lot of similar accounts, and I think that's where I got it too. On Netflix, I won't subject your listeners to all of that. I ramble about that in my own corner. But yeah, that was one too where I was watching that, and we won't spoil for people, but just really struck me, like you said. And I was watching it, loved the concept, and I went going in. I went, okay, this is probably kind of you kind of have a preconception of it. It's like okay, it's going to be kind of that shonen thing, but then there's a lot of, like you said, well, it doesn't matter how, big your guns are, how big and powerful you are. Like, if you can use your brain and outwit your opponent, you can win. And I think they did that in a phenomenal way, and a little bit more so, I think, in Brotherhood with that just kind of takeaway. But I'm still a fan of the original myself. So that's awesome, man. That's I got one more. You are in good company of people who've just been like, dude, you need like, it's not funny anymore, man. You need to see Death Note. Yeah, I hear you. Kind of the world of Attack on Titan morality there, and I could see why this frustrated a lot of people, but I know you get to the end and people are like, oh, they're leaving me these breadcrumbs and I don't know. You want resolution, you want closure, you want to find out what's, connect all of these dots, tie up these loose ends. Excuse me, but I really liked how, like, there you get, speaking of perspective in another sense, I guess not even, morally there, but the whole limited perspective you get of, if you were a denizen within those walls, you don't know what's beyond there, and you have these double agents, so to speak, like Annie and whoever else, seeming these are human beings, but they're trying to undermine us. They're trying to feed us to Titans, it seems like, or they're killing us in Titan form, and you got all these questions on what on earth could their rationale be there for that. You would think in that world, I think we touched a little bit on this when I was doing this with Y Buffet. It's like, you would think in that world it'd be pretty easy for humanity to, like, unite around, okay, like, we're all together and these are literal mindless evil monsters, we can unite against them. But even there, it's not so clear cut, and it's just like, it kind of inevitably makes you wonder, like, if you were like Annie in that situation or whatever, like, what's her motivation, and what's the rationale behind killing so many people, especially when humanity seems to be, as far as we know, and I'm ignorant of the manga, so maybe we got more, but I'm pretty sure, as far as we know, we've been led to believe humanity has been kind of pushed to the edge, so to speak, and is not really on top of the food chain anymore. So it just makes me wonder,
Yeah, I was just thinking that I just want to say to start with, I'm not giving any manga spoilers, not just for you, but for viewers as well. There will be no manga spoilers in this video, so Yay! That's what you're after. Sorry, I won't give any, because I know you haven't seen it, and other people, especially some of my other viewers, when I give out a manga review, and then they're like, oh no, has this got manga spoilers in it? And I'm like, it's a manga review.
Yeah,
Are you trolling me, or do you seriously not know?
Yeah.
Or it's things like when I've come out of a question, like, I don't know, let's say something about something that happens in the manga. It could be something, let's say, about Annie or something like that. And I literally, the title is, this thing, there's like a question, like something about that, like answering that question. People click on it and go, oh, it's manga spoilers. I'm like, yeah, well, if it's not in the anime and you didn't know the answer to the question, of course it's going to be in the manga. Otherwise, I wouldn't know the answer. But anyway, no manga spoilers. Let's start with that. Humans uniting, I believe that humans can never, ever unite. It's just a thing. As long as there's two humans in the world, they're always going to bicker and fight. Unfortunately, it's fact. And even when, like you said, you've got a foe that is a titan. Do you know Titans? You are now not top of the food chain. You've got a predator who just, its sole purpose is to kill you. Should we maybe, I don't know, defend ourselves or do something about it? No, let's just get into our own political agendas, because it's been 100 years of safeness. Let's just get into our own political gain. And even after they break in, it's just about saving your own neck. It's about saving your business, your interests, your agendas, instead of actually what is best for humanity and in turn yourself. But unfortunately, they do not think like that. And the classic example in the manga is when Pixis's playing the game of chess with that noble, letting him win, and all of that. And he's like, but you need to stay here. Stay here with me. Please save me. Instead of actually going to command the front lines, they want him. Do you know what I mean? And that's just one example of many of the selfishness of Attack on Titan and the people in it. But unfortunately, with Attack on Titan, the so-called morality, and just because we've been on that topic, it seems like people are one thing or the other. There's not so much middle ground. You've got the wealthy people who are very one-sided, and then you've got these people who are completely selfless. And maybe it's because they have nothing and they're part of the army, but they seem completely selfless and willing to die for the greater good. And do you know that complete comparison is ridiculous in such a small cluster of humans?
Yeah. I wonder if that's gets into I'm sure. I think intended there, and there's nothing wrong with escapism. There's nothing wrong with some of that, but I wonder if I could ever pick the author's brain. But I have to believe that there was some societal commentary intended there, and regardless of your nationality or placement in history, I'm sure that is it is how it is now, and I'm sure that's how it's been most of human history. Sadly, is you get your foot soldiers predominantly. That's why you go after the young people because they're more optimistic, they're more malleable, absolutely, and you get them fired up around a cause or something, and then they're the ones who are out on the front lines and are fodder. And you see that in Attack on Titan, and we humans, we're the same as in Attack on Titan as we are in our world. We do that. Meanwhile, the fat old men who are the ones with the pen strokes, sending people off to die. It is just a completely different perspective, and I wouldn't know personally because I have not served in that sort of capacity, but I know some people who have, and tell me that that kind of when you're in the and I think you see this in Attack on Titan a lot, is when you're really in the shit, when you're in the bunkers or whatever, you're when it really gets down to it, you're not fighting for an ideal, you're not fighting for a leader, you're not fighting for a country, you're really fighting for your fellow soldiers who are right there with you, and you've either bonded with them, you're familiar with them, or it's just that camaraderie of they're in the same boat as you, so to speak, and so they'd say you're fighting there to really to keep your fellow soldier alive, or to keep your buddy alive, and hopefully afterwards there's the the pomp and all of the accolades and all of the formalities and stuff, but that's so I think you see some of that in Attack on Titan as well, and boy, that's just such a you talk about a can of worms earlier. That is there's so many stuff like that, multifaceted topics and issues in Attack on Titan, and that's again a reason I can't help but you don't have to like it, it's subjective, but seeing some hate for it, I'm just like, I'm not on the same level as you, guy. I can't do that in my head. I just see too much going on here and too many takeaways and and stuff like that. So
yeah, it seems to be that there's multi-layered society, and you could just go into detail with the political intrigue of it, or the society, and the way it's pretty much based, that you've got I'm thinking more of if you've ever watched Avatar Airbender, Last Airbender, with the Ba Sing Se and the outer ring, the mid ring, and the inner ring, and it's exactly the same with the Wall, Maria, Rose, and Sienna.
It is. I never thought of that.
It is just a class society, that the outer bit is the farms and the poorer area, and then as you go in, you get the more rich, wealthy areas, because it's more protected, because in the middle, obviously, you're more protected, you're higher up. And yeah, like what you were saying, it's not so much I dislike the whole society, the way it works. It's just polar opposites, and I'd like to see more maybe of the mid, and maybe you don't see them because they're all dead because they die very quickly. The mid people. But when you were just talking about how soldiers will be fighting for their people around them rather than a cause, that really came apparent to Aaron when he did his first mission with his group. And it was all about the cause, him charging in. They get told to move up to the front, and they're like, yeah, we can do this. Yeah, rushing in and everything. And then one of them dies. And then he gets even Aaron gets more angrier. He charges in, the squad back him up. His whole squad's dead. And it's that, oh, actually, I need to defend my friends rather than... Oh, sorry, spoilers for the manga. Not the manga, the anime. Sorry. It was like episode 5 or something. But yeah, do you know what I mean? And it is just fighting for your fellow soldiers. I don't want to spoil it for people. If you haven't watched the anime, please don't watch this. Just like it and move on. Come back to it once you've watched the anime. But my favourite bit of Attack on Titan in the anime, I'd like to hear yours in a minute as well. It might be similar, but nothing comes close than Levi's squad against Annie in the second part, I guess, of season 1, when they fight Annie, and Levi talks about that whole speech. Ever since Levi did that speech, I knew they were going to die. It was just predetermined. I knew it, and I hated myself for predicting it. But when he was like, you either trust in us or you trust in yourself, I can't tell you which one's right. And I thought, oh no, I really like this squad. They're funny. They're really good. Do you know, honestly, in animes, I normally don't get attached too much, and normally I'm wanting people to die as soon as possible, especially certain people, especially when you've got the Shogun jumps where no one dies.
And then they never do, right?
You're like, come on, die, come on, go on. No, how did you survive that? But these people I really got into, and I found myself, as soon as that speech was happening, I was going, oh no, they're going to die. And I was like, oh no, I'm attached to them. Please, no, not all of them. At least not all of them. And then when it came up to that bit in trust in us, and I was like, Aaron, do not trust in them. Do not trust in them. You die, Aaron. Don't let them die. Yeah. And as he's going away, one dies, and I was like, no, stop there. Well, they were getting the advantage to start with, but I knew that was going to change straight away. And I was like, please, just one, not all of them. One gets splattered. No. 2 get splattered. 3 get splattered. Then it's the last guy, and I was like, I give up. They're all dead, aren't they? Levi's going to be so pissed when he finds out.
Oh, yeah, might see some emotion from him for a change. Wouldn't that be something, man?
Well, he unlocks God mode, doesn't he? It helps him unlock God mode.
Man, I remember that even being like, he was just a side character. There wasn't a lot to him, admittedly, but he was one of the squad, if I'm recalling correctly. And his name was like Jin Eldo. And as silly as it was, I was like, no, not Jin Eldo. Like he was my Jedi in the Attack on Titan. I was like that when I first heard his name. I'm like, that sounds like a Jedi name. Like, yes, Master Jin Eldo is here to help combat the Titans. And then it's like, no, not Jin Eldo. No, like that. He was just this really side character. But I heard the name and I was like, that's just what that struck me as. I've just been a Star Wars fan since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, and it's not the
big character. His name is spelt Jean, but it's like Jean.
No, he had blonde hair, I think, and he was in that squad with was her name Petra? Is that her in that squad? So he was in that squad, I'm pretty sure. And
I'm looking now. I want to know who this is.
I couldn't even tell you a line of dialogue he had, but I'm pretty sure that was his name. I just remember thinking like that. Wow, that's
unfortunately it only comes up with the others Jean or Jean, unless it's spelled a different way.
Is it Jin? Is that how it would be?
Oh, okay.
Jin, maybe.
Sounds like
I'm curious.
Ursa from.
I'm going off of 4 years of.
Is it? No, I don't think it is this guy. Blonde hair, goatee?
I think so. What's it say his name is? What
is it ELD? And then,
yeah, I thought.
Yeah, and then Jin, yeah.
Is it just Eld? It's not Eld. Oh,
No,
well,
it's just Eld, and then it's
maybe
got Jinn for Jin.
Inn. Huh. Maybe I just maybe the way they said it, maybe it was a Jin Eldo. Like I I don't know. That's well, I don't know. People can comment on why the heck I'm so, why I got that impression, but I just remember he was one of them. He was one of them that you kind of get attached to, and sadly, and it's like you said, it's like I know Aaron's not gonna die, and I know I've gotten a little flack for that, and I apologize. I don't hate him, but if I had to pick kind of a least favorite character, it's just kind of Aaron for me. I'm sorry.
Armin.
Armin.
Armin is the worst thing to graze Attack on Titan, and people hate me so much for this, but
oh, man.
I can't get rid of the Armin hate. I did a quiz on a video a long time ago about which Attack on Titan character are you. You wouldn't believe who I got.
Uh-oh.
I was raging so.
It
was like a whole rant for 5 minutes at the end about stupid quiz, about Armin, and how worst character ever. I can't stand him out of all the Attack on Titan. Probably for what you've got for Eren. I don't think Eren's anything special for a main character. I wouldn't say he's bad, but I wouldn't say he's anything special. But Armin, he needs to die a terrible, horrible death. And I am biased from things from the manga as well, which I'm not going to spoil, but I hate him. It's that simple.
Fair enough. I kind of had a soft spot for him. I kind of did, but fair enough.
Don't give in to that. Don't give in to that softness. That's what he thrives on.
Yeah. No, he's just doing it for attention. Don't
give it to the attention.
He's just doing it for attention. Oh my god. I think it's like, because like honestly, if not knowing the manga, not stuff obviously, but like one of my first thoughts seeing it was like, if I'm being real talk here, like as much as I would want to be some other character, probably like if that were me, if that were reality for me, I would probably be Armin. I would probably just be like, I'd just be this emotional wreck. I'd be like, why can't we just go out and pick flowers and there's not giants?
God. Do you know what I mean? I would be in the military police, and I would never leave the walls. It's just that. Man,
that's something. Yeah, I was thinking about too when we were talking about whatever it was, society and stuff like that. That was one of my favorite moments, I would say, I guess, because it's not a happy moment, but it was one of my favorites, I guess, from the series, and it was one of those like I'm glad you brought up. That was I think there's several moments where Eren kind of had like one of those just kind of awakening moments, so to speak. He got a little bit older in split second, as we all have those times in our lives, and some of the naivete got washed away really quickly, like when he saw all of his squad get killed. I think another one was when he realized, being just a kid and not really knowing how society works, but when he has that little epiphany when they're graduating and stuff, it's like, wait, so if you score higher, the more skilled you are, meaning the more useful you would be at combating this menace and protecting us, you get first dibs, and of course everybody is going to choose to be closer in the middle, away from the wall, and thus then again it's like those least equipped bear the brunt most of the time. Society.
That's society, isn't it? Who are you going to want to protect you? You're the rich, powerful. Who are you going to want to protect you? The highest guards. Of course, to be personal bodyguards to watch you and stay in the inside and police you because they're the most trained. It's just something that's going to happen, isn't it?
And
oh, go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, and then from the other side too is just like, when you have those who have more in society, if you have more education, if you have more money, if you have more clout, than those who do not, then of course they're the ones who are on the front lines and thrown out to the wolves, so to speak. And the ones who have any kind of money or any kind of connections or anything, they're gonna utilize that to get a cushier position, get a political position, get a get a safer posting in the guard there. So it's sad, but it's like you said, it's poignant. It hit me hard because that's just one of those many moments. I respect something when it can be very fantastic, and I can, as you said, kind of just escape for a little while. I can watch it, but then something unexpected will hit me like, oh man, that's real. That is, whether you got walking giants and steampunk, climbing gear, whatever, or you're here in what we call reality. It's like that's the way it works, and that's you can say a lot of things on that. Is that good? Is it bad? Is it right? Is it wrong? It sucks, I'll say, from being on the other side of that. It sucks, and you go, why can't we fix that? Well, sadly, we know a lot of the answers to that, don't we? It's just people, and like you said, from the aristocracies, or it's a king, I don't remember in Attack on Titan, but from the people in power's viewpoint, of course, yeah, I'd like the best of the best. It's going to be my guard. Of course they are. That's, you got to protect me. I'm the king. I'm the priority.
I love the voice you're doing with this.
I'm the king. I'm the priority.
You sound like the guy from Fairy Tale. I don't know if you've ever seen that. The old guy who runs the guild.
Oh my god, that's another one. I've watched a few episodes, but I've never really gone through it, sadly. It was just like, some of those I try starting now, and it's like,
it's too long. It goes on too long.
It's that, and also, it's kind of not putting it down at all, but it's just kind of like, I had my shonen days. I had my Papa show, I had my Dragon Ball Z, I had, and it's just kind of like not speaking ill of it, not, I won't waste my time with that, but it's just, it's harder for me now because I'm not 15 years old anymore, and I don't have as much spitfire and all of that. I can't relate with them as much as I used to be able to. The young protagonist who's going to go out and conquer the world, be king of the pirates, whatever it is.
That's every Shonen Jump. A kid going out from, like, even if you include like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever it might be. Kid goes out, be's the best at whatever it is, does that all the way through.
And
the
wins,
end.
And then
and becomes godly powerful in the process. Instead of just becoming like the best, they become a god who is a million times better than anyone else who's ever in it, except the bad guy who's going to be next.
Yeah, and that's just that's a whole nother can of worms. But it's just kind of lazy writing. I'm sorry, at a point when it's like,
it's just, stop is the thing. Just stop, and they just don't.
We all remember when you're 9 years old on the playground and you're playing something like superhero, and it's like, oh, I have the power, like that's South Park. I have the power to have all the powers, and it's like, stop. No,
you can't have that.
It's lame. Yes, I do, because I have power that can take other people's power, and so I take the other powers, and so now it's like, just okay, all right.
You have no powers now.
Now I don't want to play with you. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're 9, yeah, sure.
It's annoying then, even. I mean, you got that one friend, but seen a lot of things go that way, and but hey, at least naming all these anime, have you ever had the pleasure of One Punch Man by any chance? You ever?
Oh, it's one of the ones I would definitely recommend to everyone.
There you go. There you go.
I haven't watched so many of the filler-esque episodes that keep coming out.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen anything since.
They're terrible. Don't watch them.
No,
I'll tell you honestly, they're not very good. They're good for, like, let's say, One Punch Man lore, but I care about him, don't get me wrong, and I love it, but I love the story of it, and I want it to continue, and it stopped, and I was like, I've caught up already. I literally binged it, and it felt like 5 minutes worth of a binge. It was a tiny binge, and I finished it, and I was like, is that it? I was like, it's so good. Don't get me wrong, it's one of the best animes I've ever watched, but lack of content. Because I wouldn't mind so much the episode count, but it's not finished. I was like, what? Why is this taking you so long?
I
And
mean, yeah, really. I don't want another Attack on Titan. I don't want to wait
Geez, yeah,
how many
don't.
years I gotta
But
wait.
some of the battles, and for me, the Sea King is the best bad guy in One Punch Man. I loved him so much. He was quite funny. I like Sonic as well. Sonic is hilarious.
Oh yeah.
He's going around naked. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Why? Oh, all my clothes just came off. And I'm like, what? Why? Every time. No other character this happens to. Why does it keep happening to you?
Putty prisoner.
Oh
that
my
when
god.
And then he's doing a Sailor Moon bit, and he's a super
worst.
macho guy. I'm like, oh
The
my
worst.
god.
The worst character. He needs to die. And he's like, oh, I'm an S-rank criminal. And it's like, oh no, F-rank like hero. And I'm like, wait a minute. You got absolute... I know it talks about how, powerful the Sea King was, but it would be good to see the S or the... Was it S? I can't remember. Hero. Or whatever it is. I'm thinking of S-rank in Naruto as well, so I don't know. It could be like a 0 hero. I don't know. I can't remember what it was. It's like the best rank, whatever it is. It is S, I think. Anyway, he should have fought someone who was powerful, who was beating other heroes first to show his power, rather than just saying him off reputation. We didn't know how powerful he actually was, but he got absolutely pwned with ease. Yeah. Like, wait a minute, you're meant to be the best hero, aren't you? I've got nothing to gauge you against apart from you are absolutely a joke. And I don't know, that's what I mean. They pitched that completely wrong. They got someone... The only thing that gave him merit was that he was a high-ranking hero. He was terribly, dressed, or lack of dress. He was terrible concept. It was literally like, they must have got drunk one night. I was like, oh, I got an idea for a character we can include. And we're like... And the other's like, yeah, that sounds amazing!
I just thought...
And then the next day, they've already, sent it off to production, and they're thinking... Oh shit!
We
Shouldn't
really
have done that. Did we really do that?
Oh my god! Or oh my
take
gosh!
Take it back now, and then they just left it in, saying it was a joke. But yeah, you reminded me of him. Worst. Can't think of anyone that's bad. It was just terrible. But I like the way the heroes have their own agendas, and especially the top hero. Don't know his name. Like I said, I've only watched One Punch Man once through, but he's got his own agenda. You've got the other metal guy, the Iron Man guy. I can't remember his name. Not the cyborg.
Oh yeah.
He's got his own agenda, and he's been told not to trust him by the other cyborg. There's too many cyborgs in this, and goddamn robots. But it's obvious that that big robot killed the main robot's dad or family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking in code because when I don't know the names, this is what I do. You just have to go, this cyborg killed this robot and this robot. There's too many in it. But I just love that the main character is just so underlooked. He's just completely overlooked completely. It's just great.
Mm-hmm.
But he is actually the most powerful person you've got.
Yeah.
And can destroy anyone with, obviously, one punch. But it's just, that's the classic thing with it. That's what I love so much. Because you think One Punch Man, and I've said to my friends who haven't seen it, he can kill anyone with one punch. He goes, oh, that must be quite boring then. And I'm like, no, because for one, no one knows, and that's half the fun of it. But also, he's not even in some of the battles when he's thinking about his groceries or something. I remember the one in the arena with the lab. It was one of the first story arcs. I thought it was going to be the main story arc, and it was over so quickly. I'm so glad. But about the scientist who cloned himself, and then he's got the big bad thing there, and they're like, oh no, he's actually losing. Oh my god! And he's just thinking in his head, what time does the grocery shops close, or what's the sale on there? And then he realizes what's going on. Oh, someone's hitting me, and he just does a gentle punch and kills him.
Man, it's kind of like that we were just talking about the oddly enough Fuhrer Bradley, and you're just you go in, and every time you think okay, is he really gonna get him with one? But yep, literally just one punch, and then the next villain, it's okay, but what if they're just gonna trick me, and then this will be the one that nope, never mind, one punch. It's it's
you're
so absurd.
Oh, this guy's actually so absurd. The villains get more and more ridiculous, don't they? And you're just there's no way. And then they do the build-up afterwards where they introduce the other heroes as cannon fodder before he comes and things like that. And it's oh, okay. Then it makes it more interesting.
Yeah. I remember talking about this with some other people, and they actually were saying like, one of the things he said he really liked was like, I actually really like, didn't hate Saitama, the main character, but he's like, I really liked the other characters. I pretty much liked all the other characters because you see how they interact with him, how they respond to him, and all of that. Whether you're like that one dude who's the pretty boy with the blue hair. I'm sorry, people, we don't remember names, but you'll know.
And he's their name.
And he's,
He's the top hero, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's kind of,
evil.
he's
Pure
jealous of him. You can tell, or he's kind of, like that kind of thing, and yeah. So and then of course you got, I mean, Godzilla stuff. You got Super Sentai stuff. You've got
Aliens.
Dragon Ball Z classic. The Shonen power up. All of that. I just love how it's. I don't think One Punch Man would have worked like 10 years ago, but I think now it's perfect. It's perfect timing, and we all know those cliches, and we've all kind of gotten to that point where it's like, yeah, he's gonna do a spiel, and then all of a sudden, all of a sudden he's punched into a skyscraper and it's done, and you're just like, wait, what? But no,
that's
what?
a great joke about it.
It is. It's great. It's a constant. Like any good comedy, as I heard one person put it, like it's like. It's constantly a sharp left turn, and you somehow don't see it coming, even though it's like the same thing every time. He's gonna punch him into oblivion, and that'll be it. And I was so surprised too. Everybody I've talked with, I don't know about you, but I really was, as sappy as it seems it should be. I really was feeling some feels from Moomin Rider. Especially when he was taking on the Sea King. I'm like, Moomin Rider,
do not talk about that. I was just about to bring that up. I had to Google his name because I only know him as Bike Guy. And I was like, oh, Moomin Rider. Okay, then. No, he is awful. He is as bad as the prisoner guy, Petty Pooh Prisoner, whatever his name is. Literally, Moomin Rider is the almond of One Punch Man. And he's just like, you are so useless. Why was your concept for a hero a bikeman? Why? Why would you pick that? Everyone hates cyclists. Why would you choose that? I drive a car, so you can tell already I hate cyclists with a passion. And him just riding around everywhere slowly. Everyone's dead before you even get there. And the way he just throws his bike at the Sea King is just so pathetic. The Sea King just looks at him like, what?
He doesn't have any powers, but he's still a hero.
He's not a hero. What,
hey, a true hero. He has to maintain a quota to be a C-class hero. So you know that he's out there on his bike every day, getting cats out of trees and getting balloons for little kids, and he's a hero, man.
Just looking at some pictures of him just makes me laugh so much because he's so pathetic. He's just so pathetic. He reminds me of people like Thomas from Attack on Titan. You probably won't know who that is, but every time I see him in a game or if I watch the anime game, it just makes me cry. He's one of Armin's squad to get killed first, and he's behind that tower as the blonde Titan peers its head out, and he's like half hanging out. That's Thomas. Yeah. And he's basically going, help me, mouthing that to them. And that reminds me of Moomin Rider. He's just so pathetic. It's ridiculous. I guess you need someone like that. But he gets so preachy and so like, I'm the best. And you're just like, no, you're not. You ride a bicycle. Why?
He's top of C-class.
Get a proper mode of transport, for God's sake. It's not like your job demands you to be to places quickly. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm going to ride on the bike. And then the main character, I'm never going to pronounce his name right.
Saitama?
Yeah, Saitama. I always pronounce it wrong, but he just rides on the back of the bike. I'm thinking, why are you driving so slow? Apart from convenience, obviously. And then Sonic just runs by in the rain, naked, and then Moomin Rider doesn't even see it because Moomin Rider's so awful. But yeah, no, honestly, Moomin Rider, I get angry about Moomin Rider, but he does make me laugh so much. Especially when he gets beaten up by the Sea King, because I wish I was the Sea King at that point.
Oh man, well, I suspect you're probably in the minority, but I respect that. I really do, and at least, I mean, I think again, it's before we do a whole One Punch Man cast here. It's like it just somehow it's the absurdity, and it's the humor, because yeah, you've got these literally these, you know, these Godzilla-sized monsters, and you've got guys who can fly and shoot lightning out of their fingers, and then it, you know, cuts to, you know, a guy pedaling on his bicycle, and Saitama's on the back, you know, that kind, again, like if we were 9 years old, like, you know, hey man, can I, you know, get a ride? And it's
Can I
like,
get yeah, a back
like everyone
seat?
will be dead before we get there, you realize, but it just so much in that works, just works for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to agree with you on that, and it's just, the speech was what turned him for me. I don't mind these characters, but they don't deserve screen time at all. They deserve minute screen time for comic relief and things like that. But when they get this screen time, and his speech went on forever, and I'm like, oh no, please stop being so preachy. I will defend you and all this. And I was like, oh, please kill him, kill him.
I mean, I think some of that, just from a utilitarian point of view, is you kind of run into the dilemma, which, again, when you hear it at first and you hear the premise, you go, how are they going to make that work? And you kind of got to do that some, I guess, you know, like you said, like take up some screen time, because it's like, as soon as Saitama gets there, it's going to be over in 5 seconds. It's just going to be over. So it's like, well, we got to focus on these other characters and make Saitama take forever getting there. And then also, even when he's there, he'll probably be like thinking about grocery shopping on the way home and not really thinking about it. So I, you know, and that's another one. Speaking of, you know, future season 2 and stuff, I'm really curious on what direction they're going to take that with, because, you know, you do kind of run the risk of, okay, the punchline, pun intended, it's kind of lost its novelty. It's like, okay, we know he's One Punch Man, so it's like, do you have a villain come along that actually challenges him, or is the challenge always existential? Is it always, you know, like what if, you know, Saitama in the future ends up like that final villain who's like, I've searched the galaxy for someone to challenge me, you know, and you know, what if he turns into that because he just gets bored? I mean, you know, so many things. I wonder where they're going to take it. So
I don't personally think he'd get bored from it, because he just has no motivation for fighting. I think it's just something he does for money. And do you know what I mean? I know he's got his morale code and things like that, but he's more interested in just day-to-day life, and that's what I really like about him. I think personally what will happen, which I would love, but it would sort of defeat the purpose of One Punch Man, was, I was thinking a lot about this when I was watching it. He's basically I can't remember what it's called. I'm thinking of like the immovable object and the unstoppable force.
Oh yeah.
And he's basically the unstoppable force until he meets the immovable object. And whether they're gonna just, at the moment, their immovable objects are just fake immovable objects. You know what I mean, with Godzilla and so on. But will there actually be someone who comes who is an immovable object?
Yeah. I
it would change the whole premise, but do you know what I mean?
It would. It's
just
kind
one
of
person.
risky.
I'm not saying lots of people. I'm saying like one person who is let's say, his enemy. But because One Punch Man is obviously going to be quicker, he's the offense. The other guy won't be able to fight back, but he won't be able to take him out because he is immovable. Or the thing goes, how do you know what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable rock or object? What actually happens?
And I've always heard it's kind of a philosophical question, but then, you know, the rational answer, I think, would kind of be, well, one of those things doesn't exist, so either
exactly
it's going to get stopped and it's not really unstoppable, then is it, or that other thing's going to move, so it's really not immovable, is it? So I think that would be amazing if you had this. You know, you start off with the usual One Punch Man, he's punching guys out in one hit, and then like maybe somebody even unassuming. It's not built up like I think it's Boros. I think was like that last baddie who was built up as this the galactic conqueror and stuff. But
he was good. I enjoyed him.
You know, it was a really cool villain because Saitama actually had to exert some effort, but that would be really cool if he did like punch somebody and like they didn't budge and they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say something? Did you want something? I did someone open a window? Felt a
Exactly.
breeze in here." And it's like, "Oh my God, this
And
guy
actually,
just got
Saitama
punched."
might have to do more training for it, would be good. Or, what about someone Saitama can't hit? And it was with the most recent villain, he couldn't hit him a couple of times. He was dodging and he was matching his speed and things like that. And I know Sonic says he's the fastest, but obviously he's not compared to Saitama. So, do you know what I mean? And I've sent you I'm sending you a picture. Don't worry, I'll put it so the viewers can see it. But I just found it when I was looking at Moomin Rider. This is Moomin Rider for me.
Oh my God, let me see this here. Let me see here.
This is Moomin Rider for me, and I will definitely put it up on the screen for other people to see.
Oh my God. Of course, it has to take forever for me to...
Yeah, I'll explain it
Okay,
as
here
you're
we go.
looking.
Okay.
That is literally, I can do it. I'm Moomin Ride.
Oh, yeah. Oh, poor Moomin Rider.
Because that's what should have happened when he started talking.
Well, yeah, but then there's Saitama, and you know, it was over pretty quick after he showed up. Oh my God, that's poor... I can't help it. I feel for him. I just because life's hard, isn't it? Moomin Rider keeps knocking you down.
It's one of those cruel bits of laughter that you get over someone else getting misfortune upon them, especially someone who's so smug and preachy, and you just don't like, and you're just like, I guess for some people, yeah, I can see what you mean because he's relatable and everything. I think it's just my passionate hatred for cyclists.
That might...
I think that does pander into it.
If he wasn't a cyclist, if he didn't ride a bike, if he drove a car, like,
I think that would change my mind.
Still kind of be there. Moomin Driver. Oh my gosh, have a spin-off. Do it. Moomin Driver. He actually gets his driver's license. He can drive, and then it could be like Knight Rider or something.
He gets his own series trying to get a driving license.
Oh my God. I'd buy it.
I wouldn't.
I'll admit it. I would. I admit it. I'd watch it. I'd read it. Oh man, you're welcome, producers,
Rider, yeah.
publishers. There you go.
We're patenting that right now.
Oh my Lord.
$1 million idea. Moomin Driver.
God. Moomin Driver. Oh my God. And he could be all like, you know, like he could be like all edgy and stuff, you know, like he's like that. Like he shaves his head or something. He's like, you know, that used to be me. I used to be a goody two shoes, but not anymore. I used to think the world was all black and white and that heroes were supposed to be for justice, but then all that changed and make it all noir and gritty and...
After someone, literally a bad guy, he's fighting a bad guy, and the bad guy targets like the bike, because the bike's like his like girlfriend or hostage or... Do you know what I mean? Do you know, like, you have those moments when characters change and turn evil because their love dies or something like that? For Moomin Rider, that would be his bike. And I want them to just torture the bike in front of him. That's something I would watch. And him going, no, not the bike. And he's just, like, ripping up the chain. He's like, not the chain! No!
Oh my God.
And then it changes him completely so he can never ride a bike again. That's the Moomin Rider I want to watch.
I'm thinking of, like, the Dark Knight, you know, like, it's like... Lie to them, Gordy. Tell them it's gonna be okay. Like I had to lie.
The Dark Rider.
All of a sudden, it's like, okay, dude, you guys weren't even dating. Like, chill. It's like, okay, dude, it's a bike. Like, or he's like tracking her down or something, and like he's like gets nauseous, and the camera pans over, and it's like he's in a chop shop where they're like, you know, chopping down bikes and swapping the parts and stuff. He's like, oh my God, I can't. Oh, what is this
funeral in the scrap heap?
Oh my Lord.
As the trash comes, that'll be the funeral for the week.
Oh, yeah, come on. I'm sure. I mean, you know, Japanese people won't know this, but you know, come on, Dojin people, come on. You know, somebody should make a fan comic about this.
Please.
Oh, it'd be a hit. I think it'd be a...
I would love to read about Moomin Driver or Moo Man. Like, he's like Batman, but he's just Moo Man. He changes.
used to be a boy, but not anymore.
I used to
I'm a
ride a track.
man. Jeez.
I'm done with bikes. They're for children.
Sure.
And he's literally like, you can imagine someone riding a bike or something, like a child around him again. Like, he can just get really angry about, like, don't ride a bike, it's for children.
Like, bikes. I remember bikes. I remember when I saw the world through rose-tinted glasses and rainbows and marshmallows. That's what I thought it all was about. But then that day, and then it's like rainy night flashback.
And I think
throwing his helmet in disgust. Jeez.
I think the main antagonist should be some sort of bike monster. Something like that, the Unicycle King or something. And do you know what I mean? He has to fight him because he's getting over his own thing with bikes, and that would be a perfect spin-off, I think. I think we pitched it really well.
They're an abomination. That's
he tries to wipe them all out.
Oh, you're an abomination. No, it's supposed to be a bicycle. You need 2 wheels.
Why is there only one wheel? Makes no sense.
It's not logical. It just doesn't make any sense. And then the villain's like, oh, maybe your little friend here would like to be a unicycle. What? No.
That's
what are you
how
doing?
his bike changes. That's how he gets off of a bike, because he changes it. Now it can be 2 unicycles. No!
Oh, what have you done? No. Oh my god. I hope I want to see in the upload of this. I want to see in the tag somewhere Moomin Driver. I want to see that. That way, if someone happens to be like Moomin Driver and messes it up, they'll see this and they'll be, what is this? And then it just becomes a thing, Moomin Driver. Starring David Hasselhoff as Moomin.
As Moomin Driver.
Jeez.
No, I think we should just change the actor partway through. Like, have like a little child or a teenage boy, scrawny teenage boy, and then just change him to someone quite hench like David
Michael
Hasselhoff.
Cera or something. Yeah. Like, you know, he's like, oh, it's just a dork before, and then it's like, no, I'm a man. With the hair on my chest.
That's like the guy who played Batman.
Oh, we're terrible. We're well, I hope listeners see this for the brilliance of this idea as much as we do. I hope.
Yeah, I think definitely people comment below and make a page, like a Moomin fan page. Make a, I don't know, some sort of fan fiction on a website and send it to us because I want to read it.
Oh my god!
Moomin's Last Stand.
You could have fun if you were, if you did a Facebook page. Yeah, then they could, you know, just post memes and stuff, anime memes, Moomin Rider memes, make some up. I mean, there you go. And if anybody does, you know, yeah, you find that, get on. Oh.
I'm trying to think of a punny sort of title for it, but I just can't.
Oh, for
Moomin's
this,
like last ride or something. Last chance to ride.
Oh, the training wheels are off or something, like a subtitle.
That would be the greatest.
His bicycle's in the trash and he's just like hunched over walking away from it. It's like the training this summer the training wheels come off and it's like
as Moomin, it's the Unicycle King. It
takes off the helmet.
The helmet is coming off.
Oh, and then he becomes a villain for Saitama. Yeah. He becomes a villain. Oh my gosh.
He becomes the unstoppable four. He becomes the immovable object.
Oh man, I'm so glad
the
this
bike was holding me back all along. I couldn't use my leg muscles to their full extent.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He's like, finally, but now he's like, I'm tired of being a goody two shoes. I'm tired of living in your shadow, Saitama. I'm tired of giving and giving and giving for this town. And I never get anything in return. Nobody appreciates me. Well, maybe they wouldn't notice me as Moomin Boy, but maybe as Moomin Man, they'll respect me.
We just call the film Bike Guy.
Bike Guy.
That Bike Guy, because that's what it is on Google. You type in One Punch Man bike, and it comes up with Bike Hero, Bike Guy, Bike Man. Because no one knows who he is.
You're in good company then. People are like, what was the bike guy's name? Oh, Bike Guy. Yeah, let's just call him
that Bike Guy.
Let's call him Bike Guy. Oh man. Is there I don't know what you're gonna call this, by the way. That'll be fun.
No idea
you're editing, but is there any kind of last minute Attack on Titan takeaways that we should attempt, or we?
No,
We were
we
gonna
strayed.
do-
We
I
just went past that line. We rode over it with our bicycles. And we
should
went
have had
straight to
training
New
wheels,
Land.
but we got arrogant. We took off the training wheels, and
And you all know how that
no,
happens.
we got a skin knee, and yep, should have kept them on. I don't know what we were thinking. man, I gotta say, man, like, I mean, and I hope others find it amusing as well, because I've actually found this really, really enjoyable and
Yeah, same
fun.
here.
Just talking about other anime and like,
Weird
oh, I like this
tangents.
character, oh, I hate that character, or whatever, and man, this has just been great. So, I mean, just thanks again, man, for letting me just kill. Well, however long it'll end up being recorded, an hour, 2 hours, I don't even know, but just killing some time and just having some good times with Bike Guy.
Yeah, just pretty much, yeah, talking some. Yeah. I'm not going to swear on this podcast, but yeah.
Oh,
But yeah.
sorry. I if I might have unintentionally. I feel
Okay.
free to
Talking
feel free
some shit
to
about
flip my wings
Bike
or
Man.
if you need to. I think I said when things hit the shit at one point. I'm like, that's right. I curse once in a while. What of it? I'm edgy.
I'm
I'm
hip.
not.
I'm with the
I'm
kids.
not.
I'm not Moomin Rider.
I'm
I can
cool.
swear occasionally.
I said I swear. Yeah, what of it? I'm my own man. Taking my bike off road.
You sound like Moomin Rider at the moment.
That's funny. I haven't even. I kind of remember his his speech and all of that, and that was one of the, again, few anime anymore I saw right when it was coming out, pretty much, and I watched it subbed. I haven't watched it dubbed yet, so I wonder what they did with. I might have to look that up now. See what they did with
They haven't
Moomin
done,
Rider.
Have they done the dub for? They haven't done the dub for One Punch Man yet.
Oh,
I believe.
I remember them like
Or did they?
advertising, like, I
Possibly.
think
Yeah,
here
you're
in the
probably right.
States at least. I think they were going to show it on TV like fairly recently, I think. So maybe they've got the one episode, but I don't know. I haven't.
I could have watched it all in dubbed. I can't remember, so I might be saying there is no dubbed when I actually probably watched it in dubbed.
He did. Oh yeah. But I wonder if, like, it's like if you're directing that, it's like Moomin Rider. Do we go, yes, I am Moomin Rider. I'm here to save the day, Saitama, or do you like?
Hey
No.
guys, I'm Moomin Rider.
No,
but,
not either of
uh,
those.
well, I have a bicycle. If you like, I suppose I could try to help. But
It begins- It
remember,
begins-
kids, an apple a day keeps the doctor and the bad guys away.
I'm super dorky.
I would love for him to narrate his life like bike throw and things like that. Moomin punch. Oh no.
My God, just hearing his inner monologue. Yeah,
Yeah.
time for my signature move,
Moomin
bike
punch.
throw, and then like just
And then
gets
it fails and does nothing.
oh God, I am dead. I am
It's
going to
literally like
die.
that though, isn't it? It's like, oh, my special move hasn't worked. Shit.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh.
third.
I think he literally. I don't even remember. I was laughing too hard at that part. Like, I don't even remember what he called it. It was like Moomin throw or bike throw. He just called it bike throw, and it was like, is it gonna be something special? No,
Poor
he just
bike. Poor
he threw his
bike.
He just threw his bike, and the guy was like, "Huh?
That's
Did
domestic abuse, that is.
you want something?" Man,
It's
oh
literally
man.
like when you have a minion or something, you push it in front of you like, you fight, not me. He does that to a bike.
Yeah, that's reminds me of I always like that X-Men quote, that the movie was kind of not to get into that whole ball of wax there, but I always remember from that movie X3, but where Ian McKellen, Magneto, and he's got all these other mutants that don't even have names, and he stops Pyro from going out right away.
The pawns go
He's
first.
like, let the pawns go first. Yep, that's old school. He's like, teach it. It's like a villain internship program. It's like, no. See, we're later. Like, we don't. No.
The bikes
pawns
go
go first, and the heroes get through them. Oh, that reminds me of if you've ever had the pleasure. That's another one I recommend. Off topic, but reminds me of the Venture Brothers. That's I found that show immensely enjoyable because it's that kind of, in a way, it's kind of like the way One Punch Man skewers and makes fun of all these tropes that we know. It's kind of what Venture Brothers does with like Johnny Quest era stuff, you know, and all those tropes. It's like they have a guild of villains, and there's a rule book, and it's like no. See, then we send our henchmen out, and the bad guy gets rid of them, and then I do my little ha 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 welcome to hell speech, and then they're gonna go not today, Magneto, and then it's just like it makes everything a bureaucracy and just, you know, just another job and kind of boring. It's like, oh man, but this has been anything but boring. This has been great. So I think we'll probably you know, if you're not opposed to it, sir, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to doing this kind of thing again sometime.
Definitely.
And we got new Attack on Titan coming out, so then, you know, I'm sure you'll be busy with other people.
To talk about.
Just put it somewhere in the side of the title, be like something.
Should I put that as the main title?
Oh yeah,
we're talking about new Attack on Titan. 1 second here, 10 minutes.
Someone's gonna be like, "Oh man, this is a rip off." They didn't even
ball.
Sorry, I think I hit my mute button. They didn't even say anything. They
didn't even mention Attack on Titan. They just...
So is it? Yeah, anyone seen this thing called Attack on Titan? What
is this?
What's that all about? Is it like are they like giants and stuff, or like what's that about? But man, which is what I thought when I first saw it. I mean, you know, it was one of those things like you couldn't help but see it all over the internet when it was coming out, and eventually I was like, okay, I gotta see what this is, and you know, like that added to the horror of it. Really, I liked how, like, you think it's these giants eating people. That's horrific in and of itself, but then you find out later that, like, you know, it's like, I don't know why this is somehow just a little bit more. It's kind of like, you know, if you insult to injury. It's like if you beat the crap out of somebody, or you get beat the crap out of the same amount, but then they spit on you. It's like, oh my god, really? Like the fact that the Titans, they have this compulsion to devour people, but they don't even. It's not even for sustenance. It's not even like a predator eating something for its prey for nutrition. You know, it's they literally just swallow them. Yeah, very mechanized, very unnatural in that sense. And then they just then they'll just, you know, disgorge it when they're literally just too full of dead people. And it's like, somehow that's, you know, like you don't want to get eaten by a bear or a lion, but it's like on some level it's like, well, but they're just that's what they do, and they're carnivores and predators, and they got to eat too. At least that's my thinking, which is probably really weird. Like, you know, oh my god, a bear's attacking. Well, hang on, let's see it from his point of view. You know, he's got hibernation, you know, winter coming up, or maybe it's a mama bear with cubs to feed. You know, I don't know. Maybe the bear's gonna eat you. But see their point of view. That no, the Titans, it's just they're so you know, unnatural. Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard people, I think we touched on this on mine, how it gets really sticky trying to say to people like, well, what genre is it in, or what, you know, that kind of thing. And I think it fits in a lot of categories, but it's almost like a little bit of mech in there. I would honestly contend that. I would. It's very atypical, and you don't think of it right away, but when you see that they're not living things as we would think of them, or like a giant, they really are kind of these constructs biologically somehow, I guess, but they really are like these, you know, kind of programmed things, or mindless. And if like you're like
or something,
yeah, exactly, like that's, I'm glad you brought that. I never thought of that. That's kind of, you know, like you know, what I understand of golems, you know, like that's such an ancient myths and legends and stuff, and it's kind of like before we had quote unquote machines, but you know, people could think of that kind of thing, like, you know, whoa, this, you know, it moves, but it's got no soul, so to speak. It's like, what is this thing? And so I think there's a lot of that too, and somehow for me that just makes it all the more offensive. That it's like, you're kidding me. Not only are you preying on us and you're eating us, but you don't even it's not even for sustenance, man. Like, you're not even gonna digest us. Oh, the indignity, one on top of the other. I've had all that I could stand. you guys have to go. man.
I've got quite an interesting story about how I found out about Attack on Titan. I remember it quite vividly when it first came out. Well, my story is, which you're going to probably laugh at, when I was it was my first year of uni, and I had to move. Basically, I had to move. It wasn't the end of the year. It was near the end of the year, but I had to move to a different campus because the other one was having work done on it. So I had to move for the last 2 weeks of me staying there. So I had to move somewhere else. And you didn't get moved with the people you were with. You get moved to random people. And one of the random people was actually a nudist. He was autistic, and he was gay. And I was like, okay. Do you know what I mean? I was friendly with him. It was fine. Nothing against any of that. Just not me at all. But then I found out that because we had lots of friends who were in the campus, because it was I don't know how to call it, like a courtyard sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And he used to go out and smoke, and some of my friends used to smoke, and he was like, "Oh, is that guy single? Is it?" I was like, "Oh no, it's starting." But lucky I was actually seeing someone at the time, and it was fine. But he kept coming to my door, and he kept knocking and wanting me to either play games with him. Nothing malicious or anything, but I knew he had preconceptions and everything. But then he would always want me to go swimming with him. Then you're straight away going, yeah, I know, right? And he'd be like,
okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, we go to swimming, because it's basically because he never got out of the house apart from swimming, and I think he did it with his one friend. So him and his estranged friend would appear at my door and go, "Do you fancy going swimming?" I'd be like, "No."
You should have been like, "I can't swim," if you didn't want
to. And he was like, "Oh yeah, we could go." And he was talking about how he goes twice a week. I'm sure it meant nothing by it, but it's just such a strange thing. It was something he enjoyed, and he obviously wanted to invite me to it. But it was such a strange thing. And he was a nudist and things like that. So he'd just be walking around naked occasionally. He'd be like, "Oh no, go back to my room now," or "Oh, I'm not answering the door to him." And things like that. Anyway, but this does link to Attack on Titan. He was the first person to say to me, because he knew I liked anime, and he introduced me to something called Paranoia Agent, which was an excellent anime. And he was the one who said, "Oh, we've been watching Attack on Titan." Him and his friend were saying, "Oh, we've been watching Attack on Titan," as they were inviting me to go swimming. And as soon as I heard Attack on Titan, I'm thinking Titan as in Titans, as in gods, Greek gods, Roman gods, and Titans, things like that. So, do I really fancy that? No, he's suggesting it. I'm heavily biased. Don't want to do it. Don't want to watch it. And I didn't watch it until a year in of Attack on Titan, because I was that biased against it. Every time I'd hear that, it'd be like a trigger word for me to go swimming. And it's such a strange story for it, isn't it? And it's people always say to me on if I'm talking about "Oh, when did you first hear of Attack on Titan?" I'm like, do I really want to tell you about this long story about how this guy wanted me to go swimming and he introduced me to it? Do you know what I mean? What'd you say to that?
That is hilarious. That's so. I can't.
You can't make it up if I tried.
You can't make that up. You can't. It's like, hey, dude, you just somebody else innocently. Hey, you ever seen Attack on Titan? I don't want to go swimming. No, I mean,
no.
Sorry, I'm sorry. No, sorry. Took me to a bad place.
Literally, he would ask, because I had quite a few different friends who were there, and we all lived in different houses and things like that, because we were all on the same course. And he was asking different people, was I single? Was I that way inclined? And all of this. And obviously I wasn't. I was seeing someone. And yeah, and it was just, he'd be knocking at my door every day because he's autistic. He's got a routine to it. Every time he'd go swimming, he would invite me, and he'd be there outside with his towel. And there's a little peephole so you could look through, and I just leave my door locked. And I remember I'm sitting on my bed watching something, and everyone's done this, so you can't call me a bad person for doing this. But I was watching something, and then they hear the knock on the door. You click pause quickly, and then you'll just stay in silent. And you're just like, no. And you're because my bed was quite a way away from my door. My door was if you imagine a tiny corridor. I'm talking about, it's only a student room, but a tiny corridor because actually in this place we had ensuite bathroom. Because we got moved, the place before didn't have an ensuite bathroom, but you had the bathroom in the way and the bed behind it, if that makes sense. So I couldn't really see my door very well, and he knocks, and you're just like, pause. That's the first thing you have to do. Pause, stay silent. And then he's knocking a second time, and I'm thinking, is that door locked? Oh no, if he pulls that door handle, will it open? And I'm thinking, I've got to get up now, I can't just sit here. And you're just thinking, the bed's gonna creak, and you're just thinking, is that door locked? No, if he pulls that door handle, he's gonna effing hear me. And you're thinking, oh no, what do I do?
It's like a Titans out there or something. You're like, I'll hold my breath.
He was like a giant.
And they won't know I'm here.
Yeah. And it was literally like, oh my god. And it was literally that moment in Attack on Titan where that guy gets the gun and he's like cleaning it. And then the woman's like, that's not going to work. And then he just shoots himself. And I was like, that was me. And I was like, I've done it before where I preempted it. That was one of the moments I got caught off guard. But you could hear the stairs and you're like, quick, lock the door. And you just like hit that lockdown and then you're like, oh, phew.
Oh my god. I mean, it's like you said, first person to cast the stone, who among us has not done a similar thing? We've all been there.
The irony was that he actually was the person who introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons as well.
Oh my god,
it's just crazy. It's a crazy world, but I was with my previous DM who was a player at the time, and he taught us about Dragon Age. So he just mentioned it when they were outside smoking. I came out to speak to one of my friends, and he was like, oh, Dragon Age, I can DM it for you. Obviously, he wasn't an experienced DM at all, but he obviously liked it because he wasn't at all. This is probably his first game. So anyway, he's sorting it out. We don't know what we're doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. And then we're literally doing something. He sends an NPC along with us, and we kill the NPC. I convince all the other players to kill this NPC, right? They all do their actions. She's 1 hit point from dying, and I say to him, give me something really powerful and magical, or I'm gonna kill her. And I'm basically getting the DM as a hostage.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
a hostage situation.
You want it because he wanted her to survive to help with the plot and things like that. Never rely so much on an NPC, especially a weak one that we can kill at level 1. And I'm like, I'm gonna kill her unless you give me a powerful item. I've got all the power. And anyway, so he's like, okay. So she was a wizard. She gave me a powerful item. I killed her.
God.
And then we stopped playing.
Oh my god.
It was so funny, but yeah, it's just irony that what happens with. Do you know what I mean? With strange people.
Yeah,
but actually, apart from him, it was me, actually, one of my friends, and 2 girls who were there, and they were playing along with us, and one of them actually carried on into my original D&D group, and he became the other player became my DM. And yeah, that was my first DM. It was strange how that changed from that one session into us actually doing it as a proper thing. But yeah, like I said, crazy anecdotes for crazy things about this autistic gay nudist.
Oh my god, you never know what your gateway's gonna be.
It's literally like, how can he give you so much? He gave me Attack on Titan and D&D. 2 amazing things. But he also gave me the fear of going to the swimming pool.
With him.
Never in a million years.
I got just
Can you imagine going in a changing room with someone who knows attracted to you in that way and you're not at all? Sounds like my idea of hell.
It's like I can't cast a stone because it's one of those things. So like, yeah, I'd be kind of okay, I'd be a little I'd be a little wary myself. Just, I mean, not meaning to be, no offense, and not wanting, but I mean, I hear you, just so much. And then it's like, I remember that as a kid, like falling into that. It's kind of like, I think, like I've only had this situation a few times, and then it hit me when I got older. I'm like, oh my god, this is what, if you're a decent person, it's like, this is what being the hot girl is like. You're like, yes. Oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings, so yes. I'll just go out with them once, and then it's like, no. Then they're gonna go, no. It's like, oh, they want to do this again, or they like me, or something, So it's like, it just as soon as you would if you had gone swimming with them one time.
It's feeding
would
the
have
stray
wanted.
cat, isn't
It
it?
would have been every day. Yep. It would have been,
Well,
and it's like I don't want to be mean, but
I,
I don't want to lead you on.
I did. I have to admit, I did give in.
Oh, you
Right,
did. You
not
went...
to the, not to the, no, not the swimming. No,
Oh,
right.
okay.
I was not. He because we had a communal kitchen and I was cooking something. I was like, and he was like, oh, I've got a Wii upstairs in my room because funny enough, he was in the top room, which was like the attic, the danger attic. But
Wow.
he was, cause, yeah, he was like, oh yeah, I've got a Wii. Do you want to come up and play? And we was talking about our favorite games on it, like Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers. It's like, oh, I really like Super Smash Brothers. And he's like,
Mhm.
oh, I've got it upstairs. Do you want to come play? And I was like, and that moment, I should have said no. I should have just said no. It's that simple. I should have said, no, I don't really fancy it. Anyway, I said yes. Went up to his room, right? And this is, oh, literally went up to his room. He don't worry, he didn't make any advances if that's what you're thinking. I'm keeping you in suspense.
I'm wondering, where's this
We went
gonna go?
up, we playing it for a bit, and he went into his bathroom. He comes back out nude.
All right.
And then he basically he did put his like quilt or whatever over him and carried on playing. Obviously he clothes are restricting for him or whatever. And we finished that game and I left. Because look at that. Now we had a big party one night towards the end of the year to celebrate the end of the year. Lots of people there and everything. And the friend I was talking about who was playing the game with us and with him, he convinced him with that same line. He said, oh, do you want to come and play Super Smash Brothers upstairs? Him being drunk, going, yeah, I'll come up and play Super Smash Brothers with you. So they're playing it. My friend's setting it up, and then he says to him, do you mind if I get a bit more comfortable?
Oh my
And
god.
he's thinking,
Sure.
my friend's thinking, sure, it's your room? What? Yeah, sure. So he goes into the bathroom, comes out butt naked, and sits right next to him on the bed right next to him.
Oh my lord.
And
Oh my
butt
lord.
naked. That was worse than my one, and it was just like, oh no. And I was like, he did it to you, didn't he?
In your head, you're just like, I'd be like, did I make a mistake? Oh my god, that's like, again, speaking of casting stones, I can't,
But there's so many stories that come off of this. One of my other friends, not to go on, I'm going on a complete tangent on this. Later on, someone else who I play D&D with now, who I was friends with back then, but he didn't live there. I didn't know about any of this, and we didn't even know we knew that same guy. And he's like, "Oh my god, are you?" Because I was telling him this story at some point later in the year, because me and my friend were going, "Oh, we've had this horrible experience with this guy," and he's like, is he that tall guy? He was explaining it. He was describing him. He goes, oh my god, he tried to make passes at me. He said he's a nudist and clothes are restricted. And he tried to come on to me. He was drunk coming on to me on that big party. And I was like, no way. And it was just like, we've all been victimized by him.
Yeah. It's one of those too. It's like it's one of those. Once you figure out, it's not like, wait a minute, who is that guy? The guy who sat behind us. It's like, no, wait a minute. Nudist, swimming. Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
He invited that guy to go swimming with him, my friend. Not the one I was talking about who went upstairs with him. The other one at the party. He's like, oh, we go swimming every week. Do you want to come? It's good exercise.
That it is. I
don't disagree with you. But there's no way I'm going with you.
But it's like I guess it's like, because I've been on the other end and I go, oh, that's terrible. But you know what? It's like the hot girl going on a date for a free meal. You know what? It's like,
no, what, to go for
when you're like,
get a free swimming set?
Super Smash Brothers. He throws out Super Smash Brothers. You go, all right, I'll play some Super Smash Brothers. This one time, I do like Super Smash Brothers. Okay, all right, yeah.
No, it's PTSD coming back.
But no, yeah, we're obliging him too. That was and something where you're like, swimming. He might be naked. I know. We'll play his video game.
No.
Maybe he won't be naked.
Yeah.
Okay. It's worth a shot. It's worth a shot.
But there was a template place close to where we were, and we always used to get that for students. And he was like, "Oh, I'll buy you it." I was like, "No way."
Here you go.
We're not going down this road.
Draw the line. No. Don't. Nope. I don't want to owe you. Nope.
But the worst thing was when I first met him, because obviously I didn't know any of this about him. And obviously, what do you think the first thing is he started talking about? Swimming. And I was like, oh yeah, I love swimming. Because I do. And I'm good at swimming. I used to do lengths and things like that. I used to swim in the mornings for 2 hours before I go to work, things like this. But I had to say that to him. And he's like, oh, I go swimming every week. And then I was like, oh, I haven't been in a long time.
Darn it. I mean, I can't swim.
I mean, I lied. I can't swim. I'm sorry. Goodbye.
Actually, I lied. Oh, my God. Actually, I don't know if you meant to do this, and I don't know. Again, I'm going off of memory. So I'm trying to remember if and again, my apologies on it being literally months, being able to do this with you and get back to you. But I seem to recall, I don't know if this is a manga thing or you've speculated in other videos, because it made me think of like, oh, that's been a big question in like zombie films and stuff, is like the whole, well, if you're on an island, can the zombies swim to get you? So I think you sent something like that to me as a possible topic for discussion.
Yeah, one of my
of like the Titans, and now it's like, are you even aware? Like, oh, me hearing this, I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe they're subconsciously those things are intertwined for you because of how you were introduced to it. It's like
this
Titans.
is like a therapy.
I wonder if they could swim.
Therapy session. Swimming Titans. It's all coming out now, isn't it?
God, I can't breathe. Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, it sounds to me like you'll have a troubled past involving swimming. When is it? Attack on Titan?
I think I prefer the Titans to go in swimming, if you want the truth. I'd be running away from the water. They'd be like, jump in the swimming pool with me. No.
Hang out with those monsters instead. I'm good.
I don't know if you've seen Scary Movie 2 with the guy. He's got like a mangled hand.
Oh my gosh, that's been a long time.
And he says one of the guys is falling, and he's like, "Grab my strong hand," and he's like, "No." And in the end, he falls. That would be me. It'd be like, No, I'd rather fall. And it's literally like a serious thing, like, you're gonna fall to your death, grab me. No.
It's just like that. Dude, come on. We just gotta swim across this 10-foot little, we just gotta swim across, get away from the Titans. No. Oh my god. That, okay,
catch your breath. The popular video is one of my popular video that I actually remade as well is what if Titans were real in our world, and I wanted suggestions for how you'd kill them, and I get the typical responses such as the water was one of them, nukes, missiles. I'm just thinking, I don't even know if nukes would actually work, because apart from the original sort of blast radius, will nuclear weapons, because you've got to remember they are a chemical weapon. It's not everyone seems to think they are the be-all and end-all of explosive weapons. Apart from the buildings in the vicinity, I'm talking miles, but in the vicinity, nothing really gets damaged. It's just biological things. And granted, Titans are biological, but if the only way to kill them is cutting the nape.
That's interesting, because possible? it's the radiation big factor. It's why nobody can, nobody still can, and for who knows how long, nobody can go near Chernobyl.
But if they can regenerate, and but obviously adapt,
and
as long as they've got sunlight,
and they're solar powered. So does that mean they're kind of sort of, maybe are they some would they be kind of like powered by radiation?
Yeah, would they feed off of it?
You
and get 8 legs instead?
Yeah, super mutants. I don't know.
Mutant Titans, Teenage Mutant Titans. I don't know, but I don't think nukes would be the best thing, and I think you'd hurt more people than you would that. And as for swimming, it depends. I've said to lots of people, and there's been lots of speculation about I would just go to an island or one where there's no Titans, or go in the water. As far as I know, and to our knowledge, Titans can't swim, because we've never seen them, obviously, because they never see an ocean and things like that in Attack on Titan. But they can jump and they can walk, and as long as they can walk along the sea floor to the point that it doesn't get dark enough for the sun to stop them, in theory, they could. Thinking how high Titans can jump, they don't need to breathe. If they're on the sea floor and then they get to your island and they've still got light, they could just jump up and probably eventually reach it. But that's a far-fetched thing. I would say definitely the water is the safest option by far. Because it doesn't matter if you hide, especially in your basement, they will find you.
Oh, jeez, right? I almost was thinking...
You may lock your doors and hope they won't.
You press pause and hope they go away. But
and then click play and carry on and realise they're still there and go, whoops.
They'll be there. Because I was wondering too, yeah, like it's like you said, I was picturing like Pirates of the Caribbean in my mind, oddly enough, when they're undead and so like they just walk on the seafloor. They don't have to breathe. So it also brings to mind, like you get into, I guess, like, well, what's the sounds so weird, but what's the buoyancy of one of these things? Because apparently we've been led to believe that they are in fact much lighter than you would think, than like a, if you quote unquote realistically had a giant human that size, they would weigh X amount, just doing your calculations, but Titans weigh much less than that. They're kind of hollow, no brain up there, I don't think. So that is a very good question. I almost was thinking too, another in that vein of where would you be safe? I was almost thinking like when they're which probably would, I mean, Annie's and the female Titan and all of that aside, like a sentient Titan, you're screwed. But the dumb ones, like, when they were in the forests and they were up in the treetops, I thought maybe if you were, like if you had a big treehouse up there,
you've got no way of surviving in that treehouse, have you?
Yeah,
I know that's the same as if you go on an island or a boat, but
like maybe you could live off of squirrels and pine cones up in the treetops. I don't know. Yeah,
good luck with that.
Or you'd have to ration your
pine cones.
Canister or without that, the manual, like you'd have to maybe at night climb down and try to grab some supplies and climb back up. I don't know. That would man, I don't know. I guess in this situation, I guess a wall's about the best thing. I don't know what more you can do. That's a good question, but man, it's fun to theorize though.
About, yeah.
Man, I really did like that part too. Like this is kind of off, but I liked when they were when, like, again, and that kind of goes into using your brain. You can't go toe to toe with those things unless you are a Titan, I guess. But when they were trying to be all, or you go God mode. If you're Levi, you can fucking whatever. But
activate God mode.
Man,
it's like a dubstep, isn't it? It's like the drop in a dubstep song.
It just is. Yes, it's like drop it.
It's like activate God mode.
He's gonna do the thing. He's gonna do the thing. Watch it. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do the thing.
He's doing the thing. Get the camera, Mo. He's doing the thing.
But it's like when they were, all the when they were doing the counter sabotage and trying to outwit Annie, or trying to get figure out who it was, and then that part where, and unfortunately she caught on at the last moment, but they almost were able to lead her underground. They had a passage that was really deep underground, and then it's like, aha, because I bet she at worst was unsure what would happen, or probably, oh crap, like what they were suspecting was, if we get one of you Titan changers, whatever they call them in the series, like if we put you a mile underground and the ceiling's like 6 feet tall, how are you gonna turn into a big giant? What do you at best, you're gonna bring down the whole, you're not getting out of there. So I thought that was clever, and I was like, and one of the many moments, one of the hate love moments of this franchise, of like, you're genuinely, and I understand that's pissed people off, it's turned people away from it, but it just shows you're kind of invested in it when you're like, they're leading her and you're like, yes, it's gonna work, we're gonna get her, yes, and then it's like, no, we were so close, darn it, no. Or when they trap her and then it's like, oh, I can do this thing where I call Titans, no, darn it, we were so close, so many people died to make this happen, darn it, darn it.
The best bit is when they're luring her into the sewer. She starts doing her confession and I laugh. I love Annie as a character anyway, but when all those village people just jump out. I know they're not village people, and I know they're dressed as village people. They just... Yeah, I know, I'm making it sound like the gay village people now, but... God, I'm associating more to Attack on Titan, jeez. Right,
Connected.
PTSD. Yeah, or making connections that aren't there, but... Anyway, yeah, when they're just townspeople just come out, and there's like the fat guy who looks like the baker who just goes over one of the way, and they all just jump her. That has got to be one of my favourite bits. Don't ask me why. It's just so random. I didn't expect it. They all just go. Then she's like, grab her! And
Get her! Like,
and she touches her. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh god!
And they all just like literally just jump her, and it's just hilarious. I would stop laughing if I was Annie. Just all these random people are just running, and there's the fat guy trying to run as well, and. It's like they're running it as fast as they can because they know what she's gonna do. And
oh, it's like one of those. It is. It's just out of desperation, but it's also one of those things. It's one of those things.
Flying, they're all dead.
If you see, you see sometimes you see a picture, a still frame from an anime or something, and it'll say like it's like context. This scene. This desperately needs some. It's like that if you just had no idea what Attack on Titan was and you just see this girl standing there at this village be like, grab her, like, what is going on here? I don't understand. Why are they doing that? What is going on? She's gonna get, smothered. What are they? Then it's like, oh no, you don't. No, you. I know this looks bad from the outside looking in, but no, trust me, this is not gonna go the way you think it's gonna go. It's gonna go really bad for us, actually. So, oh man,
it's hilarious when they jump her though, and she's caught off guard for a second, but then she composes herself and manages to do it. But they're just so good the way they trap her, and they're like, yeah, we got her, tying her up, doing it all by the book, and they're all in civilian clothes that make it even funnier because it's like the people are actually fighting back. And then when she transforms, they just go like, poof, and they're just gone. And I've never seen those people again. And I was like, oh, R.I.P. Jeez, Annie, more kills.
Yep, they're gone. You're not gonna. If some miracle one of them survived, I'd just would be like, I'm just gonna lie here and I'm dead. No need to step on me. Already dead. That transformation was so. Yep, I'm totally dead over here. Don't bother with me. Just
like in one of the first scenes when the Colossal Titan kicks open the door. And then that woman who's holding the bread, it used to be my intro for so long, she was in it, where she's holding the bread and the wall, because when it kicks, it like creates a vacuum that starts sucking her in, and her groceries go flying, her hair's flying everywhere, and then she flips upside down and she's gone. And that's just one of my favourite bits. I don't know why. I guess I've got a sick sense of humour, but it's just so funny because it's like, what? Do you know what I mean? Such a strange way to die. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's worried about dying to Titans, and then you die to that. The market people died to just getting literally catapulted in the air by a Titan. Because imagine the force it takes to get changed into a Titan, and she goes from whatever she is, 5 foot, to whatever it is, 40 foot or 30 foot, whatever she is, as a Titan. Imagine being spring-shotted in a second from that height to the other height.
I tell you, I'd love to see Mythbusters or somebody do that. Be like, calculate it out. Like, how much force would this actually take? And it's like,
chances of survival 0.
0. About as much as Indiana Jones getting in a refrigerator to survive a nuke. Yeah, sure. About those good odds, I bet. But
sure, and the baker survives.
My God, I was. What was I gonna? Like that kind of thing, almost being like funny, or like I remember some people commenting on that with like the, some of the Titans, they genuinely look kind of ridiculous. Like, they'll have this big grimace, or they'll be kind of moving weird, and that you see very different reactions with that. Some people are like, oh, that's dumb. I think it makes them less menacing. Some people like me, I don't know quite why, but I almost found it more menacing because there's just something, I guess it's like for some people, like an evil clown. Like, there's just something macabre about it, and like, not only I mean, being eaten by a giant monster is probably worse enough, but if it has to like just have this stupid clown grin on its face, and there's no brain behind those vacant eyes, it's just like it's so, I guess it's like the definition of hilarious or hysterical. That's what it is, hysterical, because it's like when it's like something that's so funny it's not, or something that's like so not funny or so serious or so that you're sometimes our defense mechanism is to laugh or is humor, because it's that horrible of a situation. So probably just a little bit of sick humor in there as well. I'm sorry not to get you off the hook, but it kind of is.
I'm not denying it. I'm trying to find a picture at the moment of them jumping her, but I can't find it.
Oh my god, I was thinking that too in my head when you.
I literally want to find a picture of it because it might be my new desktop. I was gonna have Moomin Rider, but I think it'd make me too depressed.
Yeah, you got cyclists.
But yeah, it's just funny how you just get onto these strange moments that just make you laugh so much with anime. And that's just one of the ones that got me. I don't know why. I don't know, because you mentioned South Park earlier. I don't know if you watch a bit of South Park, but one of the episodes that me and my cousin we watched and we just couldn't stop laughing at, and we still reference it to each other today. And I'm talking, this was years ago, that one of the characters, they were in like a village that roleplay, and they won't break their roleplay. And the robbers come and they steal from a Burger King, which is funny as well. And they're literally like, "Tell us the door code." And he's like, "I don't know anything about no fancy door code. I'm just a simple blacksmith." And he's like, "Tell us all the door code or you're gonna die." And you see him like gulp down and go, "I know nothing about no fancy door code. I'm just a simple blacksmith." And then they just shoot him. And it's like, because they're not allowed to break character, that they would even die not to break character. And it just made me laugh so much that they kill him one after the other, and they literally won't. The robbers are like, "What is wrong with these people? All we want to do is leave through the back entrance. Just tell us the code and we'll leave." Do you know what I mean? We won't hurt anyone. We'll just leave. But they won't break code. And literally,
the one guy who was going to, remember that? And they shoot him. Oh, what he meant to say was, it's 1864. I don't know nothing about no faith. And you're like, what's wrong with you people?
It's literally he's like, "Okay, it's an old-fashioned lock, and the code is 21." And he's like, what he meant to say, kids, was, "We know nothing about no fancy door code. We're just simple folk."
Oh my god, I remember that one. That was so, again, like, so macabre, I guess, is just the word for it. It's just like, what
is going on?
You don't have any other reaction, I guess, other than laughter. It's just like, I don't know. I probably would in that situation if I were there. And somebody would be like, "This isn't funny." I'd be like, it's hysterical.
Oh, it is. It is. No, I disagree.
Finally had a guy who was going to put it into this and was like, "Okay, all right, look, seriously. So break character for 5 seconds because there's literally guys with guns and we're hostages, and you just..."
But the other guy with the gun just throws the gun away after taking one shot, and the guy just throws it away and carries on.
Oh my god. Well played, South Park. Well played.
Well played.
So many. But man, I do apologize if there's any last minute thing. I'm game, man. I'm game for something later down the road too. But unfortunately, I think my time is running short, so to speak.
Yeah.
Today. So but I can't wait. I don't envy you editing this in a way, because we just talk and talk and talk. But you can use a lot of tags. You could be like South Park, One Punch Man, Moomin Rider, Moomin.
Oh, because Moomin Rider's gonna get all the views.
Oh yeah, Moomin Rider. And people will be like,
fan
Moomin
base
Rider.
of 2.
And then you'll be like, "Oh, I hate Moomin Rider," and then.
Oh, I'm gonna get all the hate, lose all my subs, and.
We can interact peaceably, people. See, we can, because I like Moomin Rider. So, see it.
A balance.
It's the different folks, different strokes.
It's like the 2 wheels of the bike. One does the power and one does the direction. I don't
one
know which
wheel a
one's
bike
which.
does not make. You gotta have two.
Well,
Otherwise,
I think the certain king would disagree with you. The
yeah.
unicycle king.
Then it's not a bicycle. It's a unicycle, and that's who
Ah.
wants to ride a unicycle? I don't know. I'm
Oh, the unicycle king. I guess.
bad letter from the Unicycle Guild of America or something, and I didn't know this was a thing until now. Okay, and I won't talk bad about unicycles anymore.
Get sued for it.
Gosh, man, oh man, I didn't even. Oh shoot, I wasn't even aware I was logged in my Facebook and it made a noise. I hope that doesn't show up. But
No, I didn't hear it. Have you got any last minute things to say or anything?
I
to
guess
close with.
for those who have either stayed with us this whole time
That's no one.
or just skipped to
That's
the
me.
end.
When I'm editing it.
I just want to say thank you for listening to this. I hope you had fun. I had fun, and you know, I hope if any of my listeners come on over, because I'm gonna share this. Check out more of this guy's stuff, Dead Diligent. It's I think it's worth your time, and especially if you're wanting to do Attack on Titan. If you haven't seen Attack on Titan, do it now, and then you'll be all ready.
Videos, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can watch his stuff. There you go, because there's going to be spoilers. So so yeah, and thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you had fun. And here's to April or spring, whenever.
Season 2 is
Can't
coming out. Were you really trying to bring that back at the end?
Trying to
Really?
Bring it. Yeah. No.
Oh, and yeah, guys, remember the thing we were meant to talk about this session didn't happen. Just to
man.
rub the salt into the wound. So yeah, spring, guys.
It's seriously, it's bringing it full circle. I guess I okay. You could. There you go. You can edit that out there.
No, I'll leave it in. But I would definitely also say checking out your channel of Who Cares About Anime. I will link it in the description below. Amazing podcasts on different animes, especially if you're not just into just Attack on Titan, which some of my viewers aren't. You can always go and check out this channel, and they've got lengthy content that you could listen to on the bus, to work, going to sleep. I'm sorry that I'm saying go to sleep, but I listen to podcasts going to sleep. I don't mean any offense by it, but
Maybe
nice
swimming.
and interesting. Maybe never swimming unless it's Attack on Titan. If you listen to the Attack on Titan podcast, go swimming. Go swimming. I don't know why, but I just feel like that's the right thing.
Call it a hunch.
Call it a hunch. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, share the video, all that nice stuff, and check out Jonny Lobo's channel. And we'll see you all next time. Now, do you know my ending catchphrase or my beginning catchphrase?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, it's escaping me. When I get something on the spot, I go.
No, it's fine. I normally say really cringy, good Attack on Titan afternoon or good anime afternoon, and I always say have a good anime afternoon. Do you want to just close with that?
Oh, sure. I'll go ahead and here and
Right.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to choose yours from now on.
Oh, God. Just splice it in.
Every
People
time.
going, who is this guy?
Poorly
Who is this guy?
in.
Who is this guy? Oh, I'm sorry. So it was have a
good anime afternoon.
Okay. This has been Jonny Lobo on Dead Diligence channel, and have a good anime afternoon, everybody.